Okay. If I turn this up a little bit. Oh, there we
Hello.
go. There we go. We got Dudley in the house. Absolutely. Fantastic. We just went live just this second. I'm cutting to you on the screen. Show that watch one more time. Dudley's in the house. Look at that. There you go. That's what you call a 40 millimeter Oyster Perpetual day date with the president bracelet. I can see it. Absolutely. You're coming through sharp. You must have some good bandwidth right there. So I'm trying to let me get in here so that I can see who is trying to watch right now. Here we go. Getting in the chat. It's what you call a 40 millimeter. Okay, and let's see. Yeah, we got Mark Byrne in the house. So what do you do when Grand Seiko comes out with a solid gold spring drive on a bracelet? We've been talking about that. We've absolutely been talking about that. What about if they just licensed the spring drive to Rolex and they put it in that 40 mil day date? That's another possibility. So bring us up to date, Dudley. You got the watch. Tomorrow will be 1 week, correct?
1 week since I set it. Since I set it atomically, it's about 2 seconds, maybe even less. It might be right at 2 seconds.
2 seconds fast, which is perfect. You want it to be a little bit fast because it's much easier to stop it for a second or two when you're recalibrating the time than to try to run it forward and all that. And I always like to have the minute hand in sync with the second hand. You know, when the second hand's up at the 60, I always like it to be right at the hash mark. Just kind of funny that way. And that's kind of hard to do, and so you don't want to have to do that often. So it's good that it runs a little bit fast. Okay, so we got some comments in here. Stunning. Jerry says it's stunning. And, wow, the day date looks great, Andrew says. What would you guys recommend for under $1,000 with not a day date 40? Beautiful watch. I'll get to that question in a little while here. David says, hi. 40 is a sport watch, day date. Should be 36. Let's comment on that. What do you think about the size? You've been wearing it for almost a week. Your wrist is 7 inches, correct?
Yeah.
And
what do you think? You see it right there.
It looks good. Turn it sideways.
How does it look?
Yeah, I think it looks good for somebody that dresses the way you dress, kind of casual a lot of the time. I wouldn't be able to push that with my French cuffs. It just wouldn't do it. You see how tight that cuff is? It would just be a tight play. I'll give the folks.
They're both 12 millimeters, though, huh?
No, this one's 10.
No. Between the 36 day date and the 40
the 36. Yeah, the 36, you gain a little bit. It's a little bit smaller because the whole watch is smaller, but they're about the same thickness.
I'm used to 40.
Yeah, I think if somebody was dressed in a suit all the time, like a lawyer or something like that, I think they would be better off with the 36. But the way you dress, and since you're kind of wearing it as an all-around sport watch for heavy-duty use, I think that you're rocking that watch. I think it looks good. We'll see what some other folks have to say here. Somebody says, hi, Craig. Rolex needs to discontinue the 40 too big, 38 would be perfect. No, I agree. I don't agree with that. I think having the 36 and the 40 is two nice sizes. I don't think they need something in between the two. I think that would be, if you want a 38, just go for the 36. 36 is an attractive watch. I mean, it's no joke. 40 millimeter sports watch, okay. No matter where you go, no matter how long it's been, that way, always be an awesome watch. I guess he's saying it's always going to be awesome. I agree with that. I've said it's a 50-year watch. I said he's going to be able to wear that watch for 50 years. He's a young man. I prefer the 36, but the 40 millimeter looks good on him. Yeah, and his wrist isn't huge. His wrist is 7 inches. So if it looks good on him, it's going to look good on a lot of people. I think 7 inches or up, I think you're good. Okay, somebody says too big and heavy. How heavy is it?
It's heavy.
Is it uncomfortably heavy?
Negative. No.
Negative.
Total satisfaction. I mean, if I had to sum it up,
And here's a guy that's actually wearing it. So don't listen to all these yamokes that have never had one, never worn one. This is what I like. I like real world reporting from somebody who's actually wearing it. Now, are you babying the watch?
No.
In a word, no.
Look,
you're in construction. I mean, you do heavy duty stuff, so you're not really concerned with beating that watch around. You figure it's going to be able to take a licking and keep on ticking.
Right. So I had the titanium on the Snowflake, okay,
Mm-hmm.
which is quite a contrast in weight.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've had several Rolex watches, and I'm talking steel, oyster steel. And
Show
now I
that
got
watch.
gold.
Show
I got
that watch
gold.
some more. Yeah, get that watch up in there in the shot.
So I'll tell you what my concern was when I was purchasing it was the lack of micro adjustment.
Okay.
Because I've had the Submariner, I've had a GMT, I've had the Datejust 41. They all had the Easy Link,
Yep.
which I really liked because I could get a perfect fit.
Yep.
And so I was really nervous that I wasn't going to be able to get the perfect fit.
Yep.
I have zero complaints. It's perfect. It doesn't slide around on my wrist. There's no sliding.
Yeah, there's something about the President bracelet that it's super comfortable, even if it's a little bit snug. Like, for example, if you go out and it's hot and humid or something, and you're going in and out of air conditioning, and it gets a little bit looser. It's still comfortable, even if it's a little bit loose, and if it's a little bit tight, it's comfortable. Yeah, the only time I adjusted mine was I would take a link out in the fall, and then put it back in the spring. When the temperatures change significantly. And it was, other than that, it was fine. Okay, so somebody else says you should Jack Nicklaus this watch. Remember, that's what we were talking about, how he wore his for like 50 years? You saw the video, the golfer? Yeah, that's what you should do. Just wear it. I think that's what you're going to do. What are your plans for the watch? Don't let me put words in your mouth. What are your plans for the watch?
Keep it on my wrist, and I got one other watch that I wear, and I like that watch. And
what is that?
It's more of a sports watch.
What is it?
It's a Blancpain Mil-Spec, tribute to Mil-Spec.
Okay.
Blancpain, 50 fathoms, Mil-Spec.
Okay. And how often are you going to wear that?
A lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what happens when you have two good watches, right? Like you. Don't you have a great two-watch rotation?
Yeah, but I thought you were saying you were going to wear the Day-Date most of the time.
I don't want to have more than two, though, Craig.
More than two.
If you got more than two, you're doing something wrong.
There's no reason to have more than two watches. I agree with you there. But I thought you were saying the other day that you're planning on wearing the Day-Date the lion's share of the time. Are you changing your mind?
Right now, I have no desire to take it off.
So it's been a week. Has it been pretty much on your wrist the whole time?
Yeah.
Right.
I slept with it on a couple of nights, but I take it off.
Sometimes at night. Okay. So, all right, but I'm trying to pin you down here because this is important.
Go ahead.
These are important distinctions here. So, do you think this is just the honeymoon phase where you're wearing it most of the time, and
that's a hell of a honeymoon phase,
and your 50 fathoms is kind of parked temporarily, or do you think the 50 fathoms is going to be the redheaded stepchild from here on out? I'm putting you on the spot.
It might be the redheaded stepchild, but it's better than having no stepchild, if that makes any sense. I don't know. Let's talk again in a month and see where we stand. But
because when we talked,
like watches, I'm a watch enthusiast, and it's hard to just be set on one watch if you're a watch enthusiast. I mean, you have two watches, and I consolidated, and I have two watches, and I told you, total satisfaction.
Well, I think it's a good idea to consolidate down to a couple of stunners. I absolutely agree with that. But I'm just I'm getting a little bit of a wiggling in your story. I mean, when we talked after you had it for about 2 days, you were pretty much saying, "Man, this thing is just not coming off my wrist. This is all that," and it's like, and I said, "You're going to wear it even like in the heavy use situations," and you said, "Yeah, this thing can take it," and all that.
Well,
are you backing down?
I'm not going to be doing chainsaw work, okay, with it on. I'm not going to be. I mean, I'm gonna Jack Nicklaus it as you put it or
Hmm.
someone put it, but I'm not gonna
Yeah, the only time
Jack
he
the
took
Ripper.
his off, I think, was when he was actually golfing. He put it in his golf bag. But when he was like landing that big fish and all that, when he was doing
Oh, I'm gonna
everything
land
else,
fish. I'm gonna land fish with mine.
he
Yeah.
he, he was pretty much wearing it. So, well, this is going to be interesting to see. I'm going to want to definitely check in with you in a couple of weeks and see how this is settling in.
Wait,
Uh,
Craig. So you like the class pictures I sent you? Did you talk about that? The
uh,
clasp, the links, the
the
insert.
ceramic pins. Okay, well,
Yeah.
let's show those. I'm going to go ahead and show those.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. And this is interesting because uh, I've gotten some like mixed stories about the ceramic pins and specifically which watches they're in. And I understand now they're also in the 36 mil day date. I've gotten confirmation from several sources on that. I haven't seen it with my own two eyes, but now we're looking at a link from the day date 40, and there you can see the white ceramic sleeve that's over that pin slash screw. It's basically a screw that's threaded that goes into the far link, but you slip that, and correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, Dudley, you slip that straw basically type ceramic sleeve over top,
Right.
the pin goes through it.
The pin goes through the sleeve. The sleeve freewheels,
Yeah, which
and the
will,
sleeve fits through the holes that are in the link.
oh, does the sleeve actually fit into the link itself?
I believe so.
The outer links. I know it
I
goes through the
believe so.
center link.
So it's not rocket science, but it's
It would
revolutionary,
be
right? I
great
mean, you
if you
seen all the
could,
old day dates with all the stretch in them.
yeah, if, it would be great if you could confirm.
I can't
Um,
see what's on what you have up
well,
there, but
yeah, I'm just showing the picture that you sent me of the sleeve and the link. It's the picture you sent me, and so it would be good to confirm, Dudley, if the sleeve actually goes into the outer links and how far it goes into them. That would be interesting to know. As you know, I'm a detail nutcase.
right. But I presume the reason it works is because it hits where there would be friction. So if there's no friction, I don't know if there's really
Well,
a point
even
to
if
having
it's,
the pins.
but it's an interesting question because obviously, if it's where the center link, it goes through the center link. Obviously, that's going to help that center link pivot smoother on that ceramic, and therefore cause less friction, less wear and tear. If it also is going into the end links, it will do the same there. But obviously, it can only go so far because you would see it, right? I mean, the end of the link is solid, right? And so, I mean, I'm just curious as to how long that straw is, if you will, how much it goes into the two outer links, just from a curiosity
It's kind of
standpoint.
hard to find the information on it
You'd have to
without
pull that pin
actually
out.
like looking at it. It's not on.
Yeah,
I don't think
you're.
it's on the web
Yeah,
page.
no, no, no.
On the Rolex webpage, they don't even mention
We're
it.
breaking new ground here. No, we're breaking new ground here, and I've researched this, and there's
Yeah.
diddly squat about this. So yeah, if you can get a jeweler's screwdriver and pull that screw out, and just see how long that straw is, how much longer than the center link, if you hear what I'm
Yeah.
saying, and
Well, that'll
that'll,
be a talking point for the next
yes,
update.
yes, absolutely. We want the details. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Uh, what is this guy's name? Dudley. I think he should shave. He's got the hipster look going on. That's the hipster thing.
Hipster?
Yeah.
No, 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 no.
The the
If
the,
you saw, no hipster here.
the hipsters
My
have that
pants.
the fuzzy.
Yeah, I actually got room in my pants, and they're not hugging my.
There you
I
go.
don't like the hipster
But
movement.
you got the scruffy. That's like.
Well, today I do. Today I do, but
Mhm.
I'm a bald guy, and so it looks kind of funny when I got long hair and a big bald spot. So I just, it's low
Uh,
maintenance, Craig. If I
and
wake up and it's messed up, then it's too long.
and John's asking about my 18238, and that's kind of a long story, John. We don't really have time to go in, but the long and the short of it is it was resolved. The situation was resolved. Why would you want to wear a $30K watch gardening? Tom Lee asks. Well, why wouldn't you? If you own the watch, we buy these watches to wear and use, folks.
Well,
At least I do.
Send him the Jack Nicklaus video.
Yeah, I mean, these are watches. I mean, if you've got to stretch to buy the watch, if it's a big deal and you're worried about it every moment of the day, am I going to ding it or something like that? I mean, that's a nightmare scenario to me. To me, the way to do it is you buy the watch and you've just bought a watch. And you bought a watch to wear and use. And you're not even thinking about the value of it. The value of it is the last thing you think about. What you think about is wearing it and enjoying it. To me, that's pleasure. To me, if you've got to worry about the value of these watches, this is why I talk repeatedly about these watches not being investments. And don't think of them as investments. Think of them as a piece of gear that you buy to use. And that, to me, makes sense. All these people that are worried about the value of their watch, it really scares me to think that they're stretching to buy these watches and that it's a big deal and that they're worried about the value of the watch. That tells me...
You're really buying what you want anyway. I mean, if you're so concerned with the resale value, you know, are you getting what you really want, or are you getting what holds resale value?
I hear you. Okay, so let's see what else we got here. For under 1K, I'd go for used Oris. Get the SBDC 007. The Seiko Shogun is a good watch for under 1,000. I've got a video here on my channel. No, I like the 36 mil. Who is this dude? He's a friend of mine that owns a Date 840. I mean, what else do you need to know? He's got a Date 840, for gosh sakes, Yankee Doodle. Some of these people aren't the sharpest tools in the shed. That watch is a masterpiece, and it's gold. Hell yeah, it's gold. Surely the ceramic is only between the links, as the screws are snug, threaded, fit. It would not be able to stretch. Well, Tommy Lee, what we're trying to figure out is how far those straws might go into the outer links. They might go, for example, halfway, and then that would still allow the threads, the screws, to get a bite beyond that halfway point. We don't know. I assumed that the straw was only at the center link, that was only as long as the center link. That's what I assumed, but you know the definition of assume. You make an ass out of you and me.
Maybe. That's where the most friction is.
But we don't know until Dudley gives us a full report. He's going to examine it and give us a full report. 40 millimeter is sports. Why would I wear a dress watch that's as big as a sports? Doesn't make any sense. Looks ridiculous, and I'm not in the music industry, so I don't... I think the watch looks pretty damn good. I mean, I'm not a fan of big watches, don't get me wrong, but show us again. Hold it up there.
I don't think 40 millimeters.
I think it's actually pretty stunning. I mean, he's got a good forearm there. I mean, I think it looks pretty damn stunning to me. I mean, you know, you got these people that have never owned anything decent, right? And they're making comments about the watch. I think it's pretty... I
can't see any of the comments.
I think it's pretty hilarious. Trust me, it's pretty hilarious. Kiana, John's wife, Kiana, wants a shout out. Karana, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Let's see here. I still like the 36. I'm completely off the 41. Yeah, the 41 is ugly. The one that's the, what did they call it, the Date 82 or whatever? They got all the proportions wrong and everything was wrong with that watch. Yeah, that's a total pass. The reason why Jack Nixon wore it 8 days is because he had $100 million in the bank, and it was to him just an everyday watch. Exactly, Tom. That's my point. If you can't afford one of these luxury watches, if it's not just a watch to you after you buy it, I would opine that you should not buy it. I would say you cannot afford the watch, you should not buy it. I've always said that you should not buy a watch that equals more than 1 week of your pay. Okay? 1 week's pay. So if you make $30,000 a week, buy yourself a $30,000 watch. That's my rule of thumb, my guideline. on this. Or if you have multiple millions of dollars, let's say you've got $2 or $3 million in the bank, you can go ahead and buy a $30,000 watch. It's not going to affect your life, right? But if you're stretching to buy one of these items, I think you should rethink that whole situation. Okay, the black dial works really well. It's gorgeous. And it's more readable. That's what I like about it for my old eyes. Craig, my collection, Rolex Submariner date, Vacheron in white gold, Seiko Shogun or Seiko Alpinist. Shogun for sure, because you get that titanium. It's a stunning piece. I couldn't decide between the 36 or the 40. The dial is beautiful, absolutely. You have to try them both on, I think, to decide which size, because the price difference isn't that much. And
Between what and what, Craig?
The 36 and the 40.
Right, but you also have to take into consideration there's a completely different movement.
Yeah, the 40 has the new movement. That's right.
That's a pretty big difference.
Oh, yeah, the movement. Yeah, absolutely. It's a big difference. When the President of the United States wears a 40 millimeter, then I might change my mind about how huge it is. A lot of people are wearing watches these days that are way too big, that make his Date 840 look tiny, to tell you the truth. I mean, I see people just wearing insane size watches with suits, you know, dressed the way I am, and they're wearing some huge watch that can't even go under their jacket cuff, much less their shirt cuff. It's absolutely insane. I own over 30 rental properties, big boy. Well, there you go. If you're flush with cash, if you've got multiple millions of dollars net worth, then go out and buy the watch you want. Don't sweat it, and wear it for gardening. Hell yeah. Let's take a look at the oh, that's out of focus a little bit. Let's take a look at the down shot on the Grand Seiko Spring Drive. I just cut to that just for a second here. Let's see. Big watches are not a fad. If you have a big wrist, it's a must. I've seen a lot of people with relatively small wrists, including the head guy for Grand Seiko, wearing a watch that's way too big for his wrist. So a lot of people are wearing watches that are way too big for their wrists these days. It is a fad, and it's just like the silly clothes that they're wearing these days, the hoodies and all that stuff. I applaud this guy for buying what he likes and sharing with us. Great watch. There you go. Absolutely.
I thought the Snowflake was kind of big on... For me, the Snowflake was too big, and that was at 41. I thought that wore like a 42, but
I think
this wears a lot flatter too. So I mean, 40 is one thing, but the thickness, Craig, also matters.
Oh, absolutely, and I think the Snowflake was a little bit thicker than your Date 840. I think it is.
So keep this in mind too. If the bracelet fits perfectly, which is one thing that's great about Rolex, is they get such a great fit on their bracelets. The watch wears flatter. So when I say it's a flat 12, I mean it's a flat 12. It's not like it's, you know. And see, this is real world experience we're getting, folks, here. Suck all this in, take it all in, because this isn't some pundit that doesn't actually wear the watch. This guy's had the watch on his wrist for a week, okay? So this guy knows what he's talking about. A decent forearm helps with the Date 840. Or Datejust 41. Yeah, the Datejust 41, to me, just doesn't look right. I think the Date 840 looks much better than the Datejust 41. I would skip... I disagree on that.
You like the Datejust 41 also?
Love it.
Okay. Yep. And that's kind of a thin watch, too. I personally think... It
is. In fact, it's 11.8 millimeters thick. So maybe that's why the 41 isn't as bothersome with that, because it wears flatter, and when it wears flatter,
see, for me,
it makes a big difference.
For me, for a Datejust, I would get the classic 36 mil Datejust personally, but that's just me.
Have you worn the 41 though, Craig?
No, I have not worn it. No. Do you not like the champagne dial, other than the reason you can't see it at your age? Well, I like the black dial, too, not just for that reason, but I think it's attractive. I think this particular dial, can you hold it up?
I think it's more versatile. I mean,
can you get a little closer to the camera? Just give us a little bit of a close-up on it. And maybe put your other hand behind it so that it'll focus on it. Turn it a little bit pivot it a little bit. Okay, because it's kind of the light is kind of reflecting off it.
I don't know, man.
But yeah, it's when you guys see what these look like in person, they are absolutely stunning. What
I'll take it
size?
off and see if I can get you a better view. Hold on.
Dudley has a 7-inch wrist. It's weird that Tudors had 70 hours power reserve, then Rolex, new movements. Well, General Motors used to test stuff out on Chevrolets before they put it in Cadillacs. They put the first AM and FM stereo radio in a 65 Chevy, and then you could get it in a 66 Cadillac. So, that's often done where you test things out on a lower line product and make sure everything's working right, and then you put it in the real deal. A dude in the yellow shirt, what car are you in now? His name's Dudley, for gosh sakes, folks. Yeah. I've said his name 15 times. You're in the work truck?
In the work truck.
There you go. Anything over 42, even in a sports watch, I think it's too big. My everyday watch is a Grand Seiko limited, and it's 40. Yeah, it depends on the watch. The lug design on my diver and all, it wears pretty nice, and it's a 43. So, I mean, it depends on the watch. It really does. You have to wear them, and then you really know. I have a 7.5-inch wrist. I dislike the Datejust 41. I don't think it's as elegant as the Datejust 36 or the Date 840. Well, the Date 840 is in a league all its own. I mean, my gosh. People don't understand... Well, it's kind of hard. He had a lot of reflections there because, as you know, the Rolex doesn't have anti-reflective coating on either side of the sapphire crystal. Does anyone know what that dial is actually made of? Is it layered lacquer dial? Do you know what the dial's made of? No. They got lots of...
It's got a real subtle pattern in it, Craig. It's like a diamond.
Oh yeah, I know. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely.
But you don't see it. But just every now and then, if the lighting is just right.
Yeah.
Like I can't see it right now, but if the sun shines on it at a certain angle, it comes through.
Is it the flat cap or the honeycomb black? It's the honeycomb, right?
What was the other option?
Honeycomb black or the flat black?
No, it's the honey.
I think it's the honeycomb.
It's like a diamond. Yeah, it's like a honeycomb.
Yeah. Craig, would you kindly ban Mousy Pluta and anyone who sympathizes with him? I don't really know who that is, but you go ahead and ban him if you want to. Let's see. What else do we have going on here? Dudley, which sports Rolex did you used to own? What was your favorite?
I had a no-date sub. I had the GMT Master 2 and the Datejust 41. Datejust 41.
Okay. What was your favorite?
But now this is
Yankee Doodle. These people are just... I mean, they got no couth. I mean, he says, Dudley, do you have any savings or is it all on your wrist? What kind of question is that? Does this guy look like an idiot?
I'm in my house. I live in my truck. And,
Does this guy look like an idiot? This guy has made some good decisions. He's got money, okay? And that's why he can afford to buy a Date 840 with cash. I bought a 36 mil Omega. Everyone said looked like a woman's watch on my 8-inch. Don't listen to what everybody says, first of all. Ban everyone. They're all trolls. A lot of them are. Let's see. Please, somebody wants your home address. No, he says, Mr. Mike, please reveal to me your home address, whoever Mike is. Man, some of these people are a little bit nasty. And this is not funny, folks, because, I mean, Sarah canceled her show Monday night. And I don't think it was because of the trolling she got last Monday. I'm not sure. But, think about it this way. What if it was? What if she canceled Monday night's show because you guys trolled her last week? You guys feel good about that? You guys sitting
You
in your...
can't see the comments on here.
You guys... I'm just addressing nasty comments in general, these trolls, right? I mean, you guys feel good about that? You guys feel good about, like, driving somebody off of live streaming because you're jerks? I mean, you know, think about it. Think about what you're doing, okay? I know some of y'all are 13-year-old kids in your mom's basement or whatever, but still, think about what you're doing. Good for you. We work hard for what we achieve. Absolutely. This man is a hustler. He's out there working. He's out there making things happen. He's building things. Seriously, great watch. Congrats, Dudley. There you go. All right. Well, anything else you want to say? We've taken a lot of your time here. Let's show the watch one more time for sure. Look at that puppy. I think it looks pretty damn good to me. Spin it all the way around so we can see the whole bracelet. That hidden clasp bracelet. Absolutely stunning. And you've gotten used to the weight. It doesn't bother you, right? It feels good on the wrist.
No, when I first got it, you know, it was a big difference, but after maybe an hour or two, you don't notice it.
Well, there you go. Well, this guy's in shape, too. Sarah is a beautiful girl. I would love to meet her in the afterlife. Well, there you go. Cowgirls Live on Mondays. Yeah, I think she'll be back Monday night. Tell the Wrangler to stop trolling. It's getting a bit creepy. I didn't see the Wrangler in here. I don't think he's in here. By the way, if you see Clive, I'd be happy to invite him in to get his comments because he's thinking about getting a day date.
He got my GMT, Craig.
Oh, he bought your GMT?
Yes.
Oh, really? Which one? The all black?
Yes.
The black.
Correct.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Cool.
I met him.
Oh, okay. Where'd you meet him?
Shreveport, Louisiana.
So did he drive there and you drove there? Was that like the halfway point or something?
Yeah, it was like a compromise.
Well, there you go. Now you guys were breaking even more news here. All right. Well,
Small world.
Settle down now and relax. You've got the best watch you could possibly have on your wrist, young man. You don't need to have a wandering eye now. I know you've been through a lot with a lot of watches, but I don't think you need to continue that wandering eye. I think you've got a keeper there. Let's see here. Craig, keep up the good work. Tell the trolls to stop trolling. Yeah, they're not going to listen. That's the problem with them. They don't listen. Anything else you want to share? And I'll let you go. And anybody else have any questions for Dudley before we let him go? Now's your time to put to put him in the chat here.
We can do another update at another time.
Somebody said I never wear my Sky Dweller when I dress for bed. Okay. It might be too much information, but that's okay. Congrats on the watch from the Watch Lounge. Well, I'm just really happy that you got a good one, that it's just 2 seconds plus after about a week, and that you really like it. You really enjoy it. I think you made a fantastic selection. We talked about that particular watch weeks ago on this channel. Absolutely, that was the one.
I hope some more people get it. And
okay, they do want your opinion on the price of Bitcoin.
I don't do Bitcoin.
You don't do Bitcoin. Do you have any plans at all for getting one Bitcoin at some point?
I'm all in stocks and bonds.
Okay, so he's going to hold off.
Real estate.
He's going to hold off on the Bitcoin. Here's another congrats from Thomas Burnett. Congrats on a really nice watch.
Thank you.
How many links did
I get removed?
Well, he said, how many links did Clyde need on the GMT? I asked Clive that, for gosh sakes. Jeez.
Yeah. You know, I don't think Clyde's wrist was all that big, because when I handed him that watch over, I have a 7-inch wrist.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, maybe he added one link.
Okay. Let's see. Dudley bought an iconic gold stunner. Yeah, he did. You buy another Rolex. Well, he's had a number of Rolexes. He's got a Day-Date 40 on his wrist right now. Dudley, that looks amazing on you. Enjoy it, sir. What reference number is it? I'm not sure what the reference number of the Day-Date 40 is. Do you know what the reference number is off the
I
top
don't
of your
know.
head? It's the
It's on the
Yeah,
webpage.
it's the Day-Date 40. What is your opinion on watch insurance? Do you keep it in a safe or just in a drawer? He wants to come get it one night.
Yeah. Tell them to come get it.
Yeah,
Baton Rouge.
you might have a bad day. Yeah, I mean, I think when you get into a watch in that price range, I'm not a big fan of insurance, but yeah, I think you should have insurance on a watch that expensive. Absolutely, you should. Would you buy another Rolex? Could you afford another one? That sounds like a personal question, Danny. I mean, I'm sure he could afford another one. I don't think he would buy a Day-Date 40 if that was his last dime. But go ahead. If you want to answer that, Dudley, you can answer that.
I got 2 watches, and I'm content. And my money will go elsewhere. But I'm, like, just to bring it around where we started. I got total satisfaction with this watch. I can do whatever I want with it. Obviously, I'm not doing chainsaw work, but I will.
See, I don't think that would hurt it one bit. I don't think it would hurt
Well, I
it.
don't know. It's just that
I don't think the vibration or anything like that would bother it.
I won't mess up the accuracy. But I think they said it's got the Paraflex shock absorbers in
Yeah,
there.
it's
So
got the whole 9 yards.
Maybe I could work the
Yeah, it's got the
concrete
whole 9
pieces.
yards. I don't really think that you're going to hurt that watch. I think that watch is going to outlive you, big guy.
I'm wearing it though, so
I hate to-
it's not
I hate-
getting babied or.
I hate to break the news to you, but yeah, that watch is going to be in somebody's happy hands way after you and I are long gone. That's a 100-year watch minimum, I think. And I don't think you're going to have to service it for at least 20 years. That's my prediction. Tell Dudley he should buy Bitcoin or be excommunicated, and also a GS. I try not to. Clive is in the house. I got his GMT. He was just saying that, Clive. Clive, let me know if you want me to send you a link if you want to come in.
What's up, Clive?
So, I think that I don't recommend that people buy Bitcoin because I don't want them to come back later to me and say, hey, I've lost all my money. But I, for one, I'm telling you, I would not be living in today's day and age and not own at least one Bitcoin. That would be my minimum amount of Bitcoin
Well,
that I would
whether it's
own.
Bitcoin or something else, as long as it's invested and your money is actually working for you, you're doing better than, just having it as cash sitting around.
Yeah, it's just that. Let me see
What's
here.
so special about Bitcoin?
Let me see if
Tell
I
me.
can get in and tell you. Okay, I'm gonna share this once it gets loaded in. I'll tell you what's so special here if I can get logged in. Okay, so I'm going into Coinbase, which is the exchange here in the U.S. The only one that I would recommend. I'm gonna
Why
go.
should someone purchase Bitcoin over?
Yeah,
I don't know,
I'm going to
ETF?
tell you here in a second. I'm going to the all-time record of it. This is over 10 years, right? This computer loads slow because I'm using most of the bandwidth for the stream. But once this loads in, then I'll give you the numbers. Let's see. I'm good. This should be all about Dudley, the Dudley man. Is Dudley a redneck? I hope he is. I like rednecks. People have missed the boat on Bitcoin. No, they haven't missed yet, for gosh sakes. It's just still early days. I can't get this damn thing to load in. I was going to tell you what the return has been over the last 10 years, but it won't load in right. I think it's about something like 30,000% or something. Anyway, you can research the return on Bitcoin. It's pretty insane over the long haul. Let's see. Dudley has an awesome watch. High-level Rolex, absolutely.
Thank you.
Bitcoin or Rolex, I think Dudley has made his choice. So, hey, you can have both. I mean, there's no reason why you can't have both. That's
Well, yeah, but they have nothing to do with each other.
That's right. One's an investment and one is a luxury item. Absolutely. It's easier to buy Bitcoin, but when you want to withdraw the money, it becomes a pain and costs a lot. No, it doesn't. The exchange I use doesn't charge much at all. Fees are low, but I don't really sell any. I did in late 2017. I sold some, but no, the fees are very low. If you use Coinbase's professional, the GDAX platform to do the selling, it's very low fee.
Are you about to sell me on Bitcoin, Craig? Is that what's going on?
Well, no. I mean, I'm addressing these people in here. Let's see here. Dudley, what do you think about the Oyster Perpetual 39 as a first do-all Rolex?
Love it.
I think so.
In fact, it's got a better movement than the Submariner.
Well, there you go. Absolutely. And the Oyster Perpetual, that has no date, so that would be fantastic. Absolutely.
Yeah.
One is luxury, the other is pure speculation. Yeah, Bitcoin is speculation. It's high risk. It's what we would call a high risk investment.
Okay.
But I mean, they've tried to kill it many times over the last 10 years. They've tried to kill it, and they've been unsuccessful. So I like cheering for the underdog anyway, right? And of course, I got in years ago. I got in early, so obviously I didn't pay anywhere near what it costs now. But still, having said that, I think we're getting towards the bottom of the bear market. I don't think we're there quite yet, but it's hard to totally time the bottom, right? And so if I had no Bitcoin at all, I would certainly consider buying one Bitcoin, at least one, just to have, in case it goes to $1 million a coin in 5 or 10 years, right? I would look back and I would say, man, why didn't I buy at least one Bitcoin back in the day?
How much is a Bitcoin?
It's about $3,400 now. And here's the reason. Here's the significance. Let me put it in perspective for you. There are 36 million millionaires in the world. Are you with me so far? 36 million millionaires. Okay? In total circulation, when all the Bitcoin are created, there's only going to be probably about 18 million or so, anywhere between 15 and 18 million in actual circulation. So that means there will not be enough Bitcoin for each millionaire to even own one. There won't be enough to go around. So what does that tell you when the supply is that limited of a worldwide asset? Bitcoin's worldwide, right? What does it tell you when the supply is that limited? It tells you that the price could go freaking sky high once people catch on, once people realize what's going on. And right now, maybe 1% of the people have any clue what's going on with it, right? We got another 99% to learn about it still. So that's why I like being in on something like that early, and it's still early.
All I heard was high risk, Craig.
Well, I mean, it's been very volatile. It's been a up and down, up and down, up and down for 10 years. It hit almost $20,000 in early 2018. It was at almost 20 grand. Now it's back down to 3,500. But when it started that run up to 20 grand, it started at about $900. Right? So what happens is it goes up like crazy, and then it peaks, and then it goes back down, and it usually doesn't go down as far as where it started the last run up, right? And then it goes up again. And so it keeps doing higher highs and higher lows. That's been the track record of it over the last 10 years. So now there are people that are saying that, it's a scam, it's a Ponzi scheme, it's all these things, but it's been around for 10 freaking years. So I don't think it's going anywhere. Anyway, I got information on my website if you want to read up about it and learn about it. You can do that. Let's see. Dudley has set the bar for Craig in regards to a gold stunner. That Day Date 40 is freaking amazing. Show it one more time. We got to take another look at that thing. Yeah, jeez. And turned a little bit. Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's... I do wish they would put anti-reflective coating on the underside of the... I understand why they don't want to put it on the top of the crystal, because it'll wear off or whatever, look like garbage. But
you know what, though?
They could Craig, put it on the underside.
I'm interrupting for a second, but I mean, in person, I don't even notice it. I mean, I think there's something about it going through the camera lens that it shows differently than it does in person. And I mean, as far as reading,
yeah, it didn't really bother me on my Day Date either. It didn't really bother me, but now that I have the diver, which does have it on the inside, I do notice a difference sometimes. So I don't see the downside to them putting it on. Craig, are you the secret founder of Bitcoin? I wish I was. He's got, by all accounts, he's got 1 million Bitcoin, but nobody knows who he is. That's the other thing, Dudley. This guy invented Bitcoin like 10 years ago, right? I think this is hilarious. He invented this thing, and he put it out there, open sourced it, for people to do it, and for people to set up mining rigs and all that, and for the thing to spread, right? And then he stepped away, I don't know, like a year later or whenever it was, he just kind of like faded back into the background, right, and just disappeared. And nobody even knows who he is. They don't even know if he might be like more than one people. He might be a group of people. They don't know. Some people say it might have been the CIA. I mean, they just have no idea who created this thing, right? And so the Congress, they were interviewing some guy about Bitcoin a few years back, and they were saying, well, who's in charge of Bitcoin? We'd like to get him here in front of the committee and talk to him and so on. And the guy says, well, we don't know. He says, what do you mean there's nobody in charge? I thought that was hilarious. That was when I really started liking Bitcoin, right? There's nobody for the government to go after. There's nobody for the government to arrest, right? I think it's absolutely hilarious. Oh my God. The guy says, well, where are their offices? And the guy says, well, they don't really have any offices. Here's this worldwide phenomenon, right? Billions of dollars worth of market cap, and nobody even knows, who created the damn thing. So that's pretty funny. All right. Well, I think that we've kind of covered what we're going to cover here. Show them one more time. These guys are salivating. They don't know what to do. Show them the watch one more time. Look at that puppy. Look at I think the bracelet is what makes it. The bracelet and the way it goes right to the case, and it's nice and trim, like you say, on your wrist, nice and flat.
To me, it's the fit of the bracelet that pulls off the size of the watch and the thickness of the watch, because you get such a good fit with the bracelet.
Yeah.
That it's a perfect wear, and it's not sliding around. It's like where I go, it's right there with me.
When they came out with that watch in 1956, it was pretty much spot on, even right when they brought it out. And then they've done nothing but refine that watch over the years. The President bracelet, making it stronger and stronger and stronger, and now it's just bulletproof. And so, and of course, they've improved the movement and so on.
I think that the movement alone makes it uncomparable with the 36. I mean, I keep hearing you refer to the 36, and then.
Well, but Dudley, I mean,
Craig, you got a Grand Seiko spring drive. So I know the
Yeah.
movement matters to you.
Oh, it does, but
Okay.
make no mistake, the movement that's in the 36 that's been bulletproof, reliable, it's been around for years and time tested and so on. I mean, it is no joke. It's a heavy duty, robust
No,
movement
it's
too.
just how accurate do
It's
you
not
want
going
to
to be
be?
as accurate as yours. I give you that. I'll give you that. But all I'm saying is, if I really wanted the 36 because I thought the 40 was too big for my purposes, I would still buy the 36. I wouldn't buy the 40 just because of the movement. I would buy it because of the movement and because I like that size. Because in a year or two, they're probably going to roll a better movement into the 36. So if you want to wait, if you really want that movement, you could wait. My guess
There you
is
go.
my guess is they will do that. Here's this guy. This guy JCE is a total jerk. I mean, I really should block the guy. He says, Dudley, can you recommend a good place to get a replica Rolex? Where do these guys come up with these stupid questions? This is funny.
Next.
Would you like to see a Milgauss with a rotary bezel? Actually, a lot of the Rolexes now have much
They used to
better.
have one on the Milgauss, I believe.
Well, maybe, but a lot of the Rolexes now have much better anti-magnetic functionality. Even your date 8
Look,
there.
so that's another weakness of the spring drive, Craig. I saw on that link you sent me, it says 60 Gauss.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's 60. Are you sure?
That's what you had written on there.
But here's the thing about the spring drive. Remember.
That's not very anti-magnetic.
Yeah, but remember, they underrate everything on their ratings.
Well, that's like weight. That's like
Yeah. So
way.
I've heard of no issues whatsoever with spring drives becoming magnetized and having accuracy problems. I'll put it that way. So until we start hearing reports of them going like wow like because of magnetism, I think the whole magnetism thing is overhyped anyway. I've never had a watch become magnetized, and by the way, it's not that hard to demagnetize them if they do. So
I think gold is an extra barrier over steel as far as that goes.
I just think it's all a hype thing. I don't think it's a real world problem.
It might be a hype, but it's also a peace of mind. You know, I mean,
I've never even thought about it. In 40 years of wearing high-end watches, it hasn't even been a thing on my radar screen. So this decentralization is the future. Over there in Louisiana, you need a concealed carry with that watch. I don't think so. I think you're in a pretty safe area, aren't you? You don't have a lot of crime there, do you?
We have plenty of crime, but
Oh, really? Well, I'll put it
it's not
this.
as bad as New Orleans.
I'll put
New
it this.
Orleans, they got a 33% chance at catching you if you if you kill someone, you got I guess it'd be a 66% chance
Of getting away with it. I think in D.C. you got about a 99% chance of getting away with it. I don't think they get any of them.
Yeah. Those
gangbangers, those drug guys, and all, they shoot people and they don't care. Let's see. Are you watching the Trump speech tonight, Craig? Craig, are you going to watch the Trump speech? I don't know. I might. It might be entertaining. I might if they stream it. I don't have cable TV, but if they're streaming it, I might check out a little bit of it. Maybe they'll get in like a brawl, you know. Maybe all you know what'll break loose. Maybe Nancy and he'll go at it. That'd be funny. I'd have to laugh. Dudley is anti-Bitcoin and wears a Rolex. I don't think he's anti-Bitcoin. I think he just isn't real familiar with it. Most people in these United States are not familiar.
I'm far from anti-Bitcoin, but I'm pro investment, and if that's Bitcoin, you know, I mean, something's better than nothing. I just said I heard high risk associated with Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I don't know much about it, and you know, I can appreciate Craig's passion.
It's extremely volatile. It's an extremely volatile investment. It is not for the faint of heart because it is a roller coaster. Like, for example, Dudley, you might buy it for, let's say you bought it for $3,400. You bought one Bitcoin today, right? It's been pretty stable here recently, the last week or two. It's been like within $50 of that, you know. But all of a sudden, it could drop like $1,000. It could go down to like $2,500, right? Or it could go up to 6,000, you know. And here's what happens when people get burned with Bitcoin is they try to time the market. They try to, like, let's say it went up to 6,000 and you sold it, right? Well, what happens if it then goes up to 12? You just screwed yourself, because now if you want a Bitcoin, you got to spend 12, right? Because you sold yours at 6. So you think you did good because you bought it at 3,500 and you sold it at 6, but now all of a sudden it's 12, right? So it's very hard to know what the market is going to do. And the other problem with selling it is you got to pay capital gains on that profit, right? So let's say you bought some for $3,500 right now and you sold it for 10 grand next week or whatever, right? You got to pay a capital gains on that money you made. So now you pay the tax, and then let's say you want to buy the Bitcoin back, you got to pay more for the Bitcoin, and you've already paid the tax. So you've kind of screwed yourself. So what I do is I just buy and hold, and occasionally I'll sell when there's a big peak. I might take some off the table. Like I've sold a few here and there, right? I haven't sold that many. But I'll take some off the table, and then, you know, and then I'll have to pay the piper, right? If I do that. But it always would be a long-term capital gain. I wouldn't sell it without having it for at least a year, right? So it's a long-term gain. But yeah, that's where people get in trouble with Bitcoin, is they try to time the market. That's not easy to do. So, all right. Well, I think we've kind of addressed everything. Is there anything you want to say before I let you go?
Thank you, and let's do it again.
Well, there you go. We'll do an update. We'll do an update on the 40 mil day date next time. Thanks for dropping in. I'm going to let you go.
All righty.
Have a good day.
You too.
All right. Well, there you go, guys. That's the kind of breaking real-world content that you get on this channel. You don't get just some talking heads that have no clue what they're talking about. You get a guy that just bought a Day-Date 40 brand new. His name's on the paperwork. He's wearing the puppy, and that is the real deal. And you heard his take on it. You heard how comfortable it is on wrist. You heard about the size issue. It's a good size for his 7-inch wrist. And as I was saying, for me, you can see here, this is why I wore this French cuff shirt now, because it's one of my tighter shirts. And you can see this 35 mil, 10 mil thick dress stunner that I have fits underneath this sleeve, but not by much. There's no way that Day-Date 40 would work in this situation. So there are situations where the bigger watch, even a Day-Date 40 that sits kind of flat on the wrist and so on, would be a push, would be difficult to do. So that's why I've kind of settled down on having the spring drive sport watch for sporting situations, and then having the dress watch when I'm wearing a cuff, a shirt cuff. So that's why I've kind of, because for me these watches are to be used. They're not to be put away in a safe somewhere. So there's that. Let's see here. Thanks for coming on, Dudley. Saints were robbed. Great guest, Craig. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can get any better than that. I mean, how can you get any better than having a guy that just paid cash money for a Day-Date 40, bought it brand new, and he's been wearing it? Tomorrow will be a week. And it's been pretty much on his wrist most of the time during that time frame. And it's put on 2 seconds. It's 2 seconds fast. So we've addressed accuracy. We've addressed comfort. We've obviously seen the looks of it. It's absolutely stunning. Let me show you the photos. Let's see here. Okay, so there is the, you go full screen. See if I can go full screen with this. That's as full screen as I can go. That's the link photo that he look at Yankee Doodle. Woohoo, yeah, I would say it is breaking news. I mean, somebody buys a Day-Date 40, that's pretty significant. So there's the Day-Date 40 links, and there's the ceramic pin that will help keep it from wearing. There's another shot of it. Let's go this way. There's a wrist shot showing that loomed dial with the loomed hands. That is absolutely stunning, I think. Now, I would rather have the brushed on the top of the lugs like the older Day-Dates, the 18238 had, but, you know, can't have everything. The shiny is okay. It's just going to show more. There it is in the box. Another wrist shot. Beautiful President bracelet. See that side view? See how it's nice and flat to the wrist? That's a big plus, folks. Big plus. And look at the shape of those lugs. See how they taper nicely to the bracelet? Not like that clunky maxi case that's on the subs. This is 10 times better looking watch than any sub, any modern day sub, any of the maxi case watches. This just blows them away. It's not even a close call, folks. I hate to break the news to you all you all that are sport watch fans. This is the sport watch right here. You're looking at it. That's right. Clive, if I send you a link, will you come in and make some wrap-up comments to wrap this whole thing up? Let me know in the chat if you'll come in. I think the watch looks too big on his wrist, to be honest. I think you agree, but don't want to say. I think it looked pretty good on his wrist. Obviously, it looks like a substantial sized watch. And again, I made the comment that he dresses casually most of the time, so it's more like a sporting situation than I think you can get by with that watch. I don't think so in a dress situation. I think it would be too big in a dress situation. That's why I've decided not to buy one, to tell you the truth, at least not at this point in time, because I am still wearing suits on a fairly regular basis. So for me, it just would not be non-comfort mode. Sorry, so Clive isn't going to come in. President needs to have a champagne dial. I think the black dial looks pretty good. I mean, you know, they would both be fantastic. The only Rolex Day-Date to get is ice blue one, but that puppy is like 58. You're talking about the platinum? No, I like the yellow gold. I think you should find out the guests are not IRS or CIA agents by getting them to use drugs live on the stream. Jeez. It's a trap, Clive. He will talk your ear off for the next 2 hours if you do. Yeah, well, Clive says he's not coming in, so there you go. You got your wish. Dudley wears the watch in the correct position, unlike lots of people. I agree, he does. Dudley's no dummy. I think you could pull off the Day-Date 40 with a polo shirt and a sport coat. Absolutely. Yeah, as long as you weren't wearing a dress cuff, Brian, you'd be fine. You could wear it with any kind of a sport coat. Nice cashmere sport coat. Pretty much all President dials look good. Yeah, it's hard to get a bad one, I have to admit. Old man's watch. Yeah, it is. It's an old classy man's watch and a classy young man's watch. He will sell the 40 millimeter within a year and get a 36. Maybe I should buy it from him. Dudley will not be in a cashmere sport coat like you. I think you should get the 36. You're all about being timeless, so why not stick to what you know works best? I might just stick with what I have. I really like this this gold stunner that's on my wrist right now. I think it looks absolutely stunning. And talk about a classic. This is a classic Oxford suit. I'll tell you the fabric that they used in these suits. I'm sure they still use really good fabric these days too. Oxford still makes their suits up in Chicago, I think. But man, the fabric they used back in the day, this one's probably 20, 30 years old, something like that. It's just freaking fantastic feeling stuff. They used the best fabrics in the world. They really did. Dudley looks like a G-Shock man. I think it's great that he's sporting a Day-Date and not afraid to wear it. 36 millimeter shows off the star of the show, the president bracelet, better in my opinion. Not sure what that all means. Yeah, I think it's time to relax and just take in that amazing Day-Date 40. Man, that thing was... That thing was no joke, folks. I don't care what anybody says. You talk about these guys that have 3 or 4 steel Rolexes. They've got like a Daytona and like a Kermit and some other things. They could sell a couple of those watches and buy themselves a Day-Date 40 and have a real freaking watch on their wrist and have something they could actually wear, and, you know, they'd look like they have a little bit of class at least. I really think that's the way to go, folks. Get rid of those steel sport watches and get yourself a gold stunner. I like my 36 millimeter watches, but they look tiny when I'm wearing a coat with thick sleeves. I don't know what he means by thick sleeves. 36 Day-Date is a winner as well. Oh, I agree. You can't beat... I mean, a 36 millimeter Day-Date is really a timeless classic. You could have been wearing 30 years ago. You could wear 30 years from now. I mean, it's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's all that and a bag of chips. If I wanted to go with one watch, a one-watch rotation, I would be very tempted to go with a 36 mil Day-Date, because I think I could force that underneath the cuff here. I've done it. I mean, I've done it with my other one, you know. You can do it. You can make it work. I think the 40, I'd be really pushing my luck. I don't think I could do it. They could sell the Submariners and get Bitcoin. Yeah. 36 Day-Date, always a winner. So here's the thing, folks. Just write it down. Bitcoin's at $3,400 right now. And let's talk about this 2 years from now and see what price it is. And see if it would have been a better move to have bought a Bitcoin, just one Bitcoin, instead of buying some luxury watch. See what the difference would be 2 years from now. My guess is you'd be better off with the Bitcoin. That's my guess. Some of these people are wearing 50 to 60 millimeter watches. Oh, jeez. Can you imagine? Some of these people are really wearing some ugly watches. There's no doubt about that. A Day-Date complication is a nice feature to have. Not a bad deal. Not a bad idea. You know, I'll tell you what, it is hard to beat a Day-Date. I've said it for years. I wore them for years. When I was younger, I was wearing them. I was wearing it. I got my first one when I was 20 years old. And I have always said, there's some of my friends were buying steel watches then and wearing those instead. And I've said for a long time that the Day-Date's the way to go. I'm not going to back down on that. Let me see if I can find the... Those of you that haven't seen it, I'm going to pull up a vintage photo of me wearing a Day-Date back in the day. What do you think about that? I've got a photo of my first Day-Date. that had the conventional clasp bracelet. It had a president bracelet with the conventional clasp, which I really like. I really think that's cool because you got the micro adjustments. Okay. And unfortunately, folks, I have to apologize. It's not a very, very clear picture. But this was in about 83, 84, something like that. Whatever year that Cadillac is in the background. Maybe it's about an 82, 83, something like that. And there on my wrist, on my left wrist there, that's the date president bracelet. You can barely probably see there that it's got the conventional clasp on it. And it had a lot of play in that bracelet, a lot of wear. It was a 1966 model that I bought used. I think I paid around $1,800 or maybe $2,000 for it back in the day, which that was a lot of money then. They held their value pretty good back then, the dates. They were pretty popular. So you couldn't get them real cheap. But yeah, I really enjoyed those watches. My first date was at the cinema. Okay. Date is man jewelry. Yeah. Craig has always been pure class, so I don't know about that. Oh, boy. We had some good times, though. We really did. I can't complain. That picture was out at the polo grounds. You want to see a picture of Sylvester Stallone out there? Let me see if I can. Scare that up for you here. How would I find that? What set is it in? I think I have it here. I think I have it here. Oh, here's another picture. That's not in focus either, darn it. Really pisses me off that I don't have clear photos from back in the day. But there in the foreground, you can see the date with the president bracelet, and you can see the, of course, I'm wearing Ray-Bans. I always wore Ray-Bans. That was at the Polo Club also. But let me see if I can find the one that I'm thinking about. Maybe I didn't take a picture of that picture. I thought I did, but maybe I didn't. I should go through my old photos and grab some more old ones before they get lost forever. These are just pictures of pictures that I put in here. Yeah, no, I can't find it. Oh, well. Oh, well. See, that's the problem pre-digital days. You know, we didn't keep all the photos. He doesn't like the Madras jacket. Did you wear that jacket for a bit? That was a Indian Madras jacket. You know, for warm days and all, it was what we wore out there at the Polo Club. Yeah, it was kind of a little bit ostentatious. Would you get a date with a glide lock clasp? I don't think they offer it. Hell yeah, it'd be cool, but I don't think they offer it. Maybe you could order one. Was Stallone wearing Panerai? I don't know what he was wearing. I got to go through my photos because I got a nice photo of him holding two horses out at the Polo Club. Let me see. I might have it in here. Let me do another search. I thought I had it in here. Searching keyword polo. Oh my gosh, 464 photos. Are you kidding me? Oh, here it is. Here's the photo. I wonder what watch he was wearing. I think you can't really tell. And that's him out at the Polo Club. It says taken September 2013. That's just when I took the picture of the picture. And again, this was like around 82 or 83-ish, somewhere in that range, time frame, I think. These are all from at the Polo Club. Now, some of these are newer photos down at the Polo Club down in Sarasota. Those are from Sarasota, Florida. Those are digital. I took those with the digital camera. These are all just like 5 years ago or something. These aren't old. I'm just kind of getting through them here until I can get to the older ones. Oh, well, yes, I'm not going to bore you with all those photos. But anyway, just search keyword polo on my Flickr. You can see all kinds of photos from the Polo Club. And somebody says, well, why do you use Flickr? Flickr's like for old men and all this stuff. Flickr is the only way to really organize photos online. It operates like a database. And as long as you tag them with some keywords and you organize them into albums and stuff, you can find things. You go on Facebook and try to find a particular photo that you've shared like 4 years ago. Good luck with that, right? Go to Instagram, try to find a photo. Good luck with that. Flickr is like a nice way to have a library, an online library of your photos that you can organize and that you can then get your hand on the photo that you want. It really is the only way to do that. What did you do on the photos? I don't know what you mean. Craig, do you employ a cleaning lady? No, I don't. No, for security reasons. Absolutely no. I'd be scared to death. Have you ever eaten at Burns Steakhouse in Tampa, being Navy proper? I don't go up to Tampa. I go sometimes south towards Naples and down into Nokomis and all that, but I never go up to Tampa. So no, I haven't been there. How do you know Flickr is going to be here tomorrow? It's been around for a long, long time, and it was just bought by the folks that have SmugMug, and they're good folks. And no, but how do you know? We don't know. But it's been around. I've been using it for more than 10 years, I think, and had a good run with it. So yeah, if tomorrow it disappeared, I mean, I've got all my photos backed up local on my computer. I've got multiple backups. I just have to find another way to get them up and host them, and it would be a pain in the neck because, like I say, there are no other real options out there. Flickr is really the only way to do it. If you want to have them online and organized somewhat in like a database type situation. Anything else, folks, before we wrap this puppy up? Going in here to see if there are any other interesting photos from these folks at the down in Sarasota at the Polo Club there. They do know how to live. Look at those Clydesdales. Oh, boy. Oh, these people. Nice 356 Porsche there. Next to a more modern version. I'm trying to get down to... And the reason they had all these Porsches here is this was a gathering where the Porsche Club was there also that day. So they had... Porsche is, of course, a big sponsor of the various polo matches. Some more nice A nice 356 there in the foreground. And they had a nice party, a lot of nice food. Always good food, good eating. Bunch of people having tailgate. I like the tailgate picnics. You just go there and like kind of strike up a little conversation with them, compliment them on their spread, and then of course the next thing they say is, "Oh, would you like to try some? Oh, I thought you'd never ask. Some Grey Poupon?" Oh boy. There's some of the players. Some of the players. There you go. And then they got some beauties doing a little dressage there. Little dressage work. Anyway. Oh, let's see what else we got here. What's the security risk? You look like you could handle yourself. Well, if somebody's cleaning and they're like putting stuff in their pocket, I mean, how can you keep track of all that? It scared me to death. It's good exercise for me to do the cleaning. You have a point, Craig. I think most start with steel sports, then realize a few years later that date and date just and precious metal are the truly class pieces in the Rolex range, and they upgrade. Yeah. Print lots of stuff to keep Craig talking. How many wears does a high-quality men's bespoke suit last? I think a fair number of wears. I think it depends, of course, on your use case and if you're unlucky to like snag it on something or whatever. I think people that are heavier, that like their legs rub together and stuff like that, they might wear the pants out quicker, so it depends on your personal situation. But they can last quite a while. I think they could last, like if you wore them once a week, I think they could last many, many years, maybe a decade or two. That's a good question, though. But yeah, you could get unlucky and you could snag them on something, and that would not be a good deal. Never had to look at my watch to figure out what day it was. Well, when you get older and you become forgetful, you might need it. In the beginning, God created the heavens and earth. Now the earth was formless and empty. Darkness was over the surface of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. Well, there you go. I think it's time for you to get a roast beef sub from Hoffman's Market. I'm definitely going to have one on Friday. I'm spoiling myself this Friday. I think I'm going to get one. I try not to get them more than once a week. Let's see. Chip, where was Sarah last night? She canceled the show. She had some family issues. I hope it wasn't because you guys were trolling her last week. I hope it wasn't because of that. I don't think it was. She also had a problem with her microphone, but hopefully she'll be back on next week. Do you go to rowing regattas? They have a nice one down there. I haven't been, but yeah, they do it. That's a great day out. Yeah, it is. Craig, you need a YM Yachtmaster 2, I guess that is. Are we too poor to be invited to these fancy polo functions? I hope not. I hope not. You pick a date about the same time you get a hearing aid. Like I say, I got my first one when I was 20 years old. When you retire, the day function is a must. Know when to avoid the shops at the weekend. Do you get fish fries on Fridays? That's a good point, too. Fish on Fridays. All right, folks. It was a fun show. I think we got some valuable information. Let's cut to the Spring Drive stunner diver there, just marching along, just doing its thing. I think we got a lot of valuable information. David says, I have bespoke suits which have lasted me almost 20 years. Granted, have not worn much in the last 10 years. Mostly biz casual now, though extremely well made. Yeah, I think they'll last a long time. I think you get a lot of wear. I can't remember the last time I had a suit actually wear out. I just can't remember having that problem. Now, I don't wear them like once a week. I might wear a particular suit like once a month in rotation, right? But I have heard of people that wear them once a week in rotation and still get a lot of years out of them, even with once a week use. So I think they last quite a while. Nice show, Craig. That Spring Drive panty dropper. Okay, well, there you go. All right, I think I'm going to wrap it up. And by the way, Steve is getting ready to do a show. He's getting all geared up and getting ready to do his first show here on this network. So stay tuned for all that. And we're going to say adieu. Until next time. Hey, hit the bell, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. Treat everybody nice.